to Taipei, Taiwan, and to enjoy the weather. The summer is quite hot in Taiwan, but however, it's worth for us to gather together with our ecosystem partner and sponsor, including Intel, Wind River, Alpha Networks, 128 Technology, Noviflow, Trend Micro, and of course ChungHua Telecom, the service provider in Taipei. This is our agenda today, and we have in the last minute change that the original commit from Alpha Networks Chairman and CEO John Lee. He was just suddenly in last Friday to take the new role in conjunction with the chairman of Alpha Network, together with the new position CEO of D-Link Corporation. So he couldn't attend, but he sent delegate Xiong Yang to represent him. And the rest of the topic remain the same, and we're great to share with you our journal from last year's SDN NFV ecosystem toward the 5G in 2 years' time from now. So in my section and the rest of the section, we're talking about 5G network transformation. Eventually, people in the service provider, telecom and communication industries knows that 5G is one of the hottest topic this year in the Mobile World Congress, Barcelona, February. And we have also seen a lot of field trials, successful field trials in North America, including AT&T, Verizon, and in Japan, in South Korea, as well as some indoor field trial in China and in Europe. So in 2 years from now, 5G will become realistic. So we just take a few time to share with you the new technology and the new business case that eventually will bring new revenue to both our service provider and the ecosystem partner in these ICT industries. And the second objective in my presentation will be share with you our platform that have 2U hybrid TCA platform, but the entire family, including 2U, 3U, 4U, and the 6U platform that are ideally for virtualized network environment, as well as the central office with architecture as a data center platforms. And we share with you some use case and the real deployment we have done in the last 1.5 years. And of course, the last of my topic will be software-defined network, which is specific, the hottest topic, virtual CPE, universal CPE, and the software-defined WAN. So we also have Jasper from Noviflow 128 Technology Research to share with you the most fantastic technology in the industries that help service providers transform their network. So we know that service providers are facing some challenge, the competition, the obsolete the old infrastructure, and also the mature business means revenue never grows up without new technology being implemented. Yeah, and also only the new service and the new business can improve this situation. So service provider is very urgently to adopt those key enable technology, including software-defined network function virtualization. And with this new two technology, fundamentally plus the new radio will eventually form up the basic standard and implementation for 5G. And with the 5G, it will be able to enable more new service, enhance the security, provide better computing at the edge and the fog side from not only the legacy cloud-based data center services, and which will enable, of course, a lot of new service that is not available to be implemented in today's technology. So let's review in the last few decades from the first mobile technology being introduced in 1980s. And then we have 2G moving into digitized, 3G with a high-speed data packet network, 4G, eventually right now, I think in most of the developed countries, we have a 4G network services with coverage more than 80-95%. And it can offer the network speed up to in some country already achieve 450 megabit per second or more. But in average, the speed is quite various and up to the infrastructure and the population of the usage. As service provider implement the fixed network infrastructure in the back-end side. So it won't be able to support the dynamic change of the user specs. So in the 5G spaces, the new SDN, NFV enable the extremely high bandwidth of mobile access. And also the new technology also offer massive connectivity for those IoT application, as well as ultra reliable low latency communication, which will be able to enable new service like AR, virtual realities, and also autonomous driving, the self-driving cars into the realistic world. So this is a summary of the GSMA's information that 5G enable new services at the edge of the network. On this area, we can see in the gray area, those are autonomous driving, augmented reality, virtual reality, and those services are not be able to put into a real operation in today's IoT network. And those require the low latency and high bandwidth will be eventually the new business area that 5G can bring in to the industry. And this page is summarize the new services which can be implemented, including AR, VR, high resolution video content transmission, vehicle to infrastructure communication in the real-time basis, and also the IoT massive connections. So from the different column, you can see the characteristic of the services. Which require higher bandwidth, low latency, and with the network function being virtualized at the edge, will be able to provide those low latency, high reliable communication infrastructure. So this page summarizes the fundamental change of the 5G that implement differently from today's networks. In today's networks, service provider, they have their access network, their central office application, and also the core network. And on top of service providers network, there are various data center service provider, including Google, Amazon, lots of data center, they are built aside of the telco infrastructures. So from the customer application feeling, actually it's not feeling, it's a real measurement that the end-to-end round-trip response time from the end customer user device back to the server at the data centers and come back. So the round trip usually takes many of 100 milliseconds round trips latencies. And in the case that we implemented some services inside the central office of the service providers, the response time can be reduced to a multiple of 10 milliseconds. And however, if we move the computing power toward the service end at the edge side of the network, which including the latest topic, the next topic that the Alpha network is going to share, that they put those computing power at the cloud radio access network edge, then fundamentally the path is shortened and the hop is also reduced. So it will be able to offer millisecond level of latency delays with a high reliable services. So according to those technical requirements and the new SDN and NFV transform network, these kind of different types of business case and the service can be easily implemented by putting the computer power from the remote cloud at the central office to the edge side of network. So then the new network will be able to offer ultra high density video content that provide the AR and VR services. And the legacy form, of course, do not change because fundamentally the current infrastructure is sufficient to provide the legacy telephone communications. And also on the autonomous driving, the vehicle to infrastructure services can be implemented at the edge site of the service provider central office. So it will be able to provide real-time, low latencies services to those subscribers. And of course, with the new 5G standard, it will be able to provide like hundreds of thousands of meters, smart meter or IoT connectivities in per square kilometer spaces, which is highly increased the possibility to implement intelligent IoT stuff in the time frame 2 years from now. The second topic that I'm going to share with you is our innovative hybrid TCA platform that was introduced last year to the market. And right now, few of the service providers already adopt this combined hybrid TCA platform in their central office network. And the reason that they can be encouraged to use this equipment is because in the traditional data center networks, of course, people are sharing in the OCP project that we have a bunch of the rack servers and the top of rack switch interconnect together. And based on this infrastructure, it do reduce the overall OPEX and CPEX for those data center suppliers. But fundamentally different from the central office, especially on the edge side, is the engineering resource to maintain the network. In data center, you have a bunch of specialized engineers handling the operation of the networks. However, at the edge site, in a sub area, you don't have an engineer. And in few central office, you share a common technical, and not engineer, it's a skilled workers that just hand over and maintain the overall network equipment and communication equipment. So you can see the environment is different. So if a service provider intend to implement those network function virtualization in a platform that require a lot of cable connectivities, you can see from time to time, even after upgrade or replacement of a failed part, it will create additional problem because sometimes a manual error cannot be avoided. So that create the requirement that can those compute, network, and storage can be combined into a system level design, which meets their requirement and also be able to offer software programmabilities. So the HTCA will introduce to the market, they will be able to help service provider to virtualize legacy communication services, network security services, content delivery services, and also network connectivity and the other application services into a virtualized environment. And the HTCA platform, or hybrid TCA platform, leverage most of the advantage of the ATCA architecture and standards, and we implement multiple braids at the end. Network switching offer up to 3.2 terabit per second of network input-output capacity to the systems. And we also offer software-defined API for those software partners to implement a load balance algorithm into the chassis. So it provides a scalable platform for them to introduce their own network services to the service provider network. So these are many use cases have been deployed in the last 2 years on these hybrid TCA platforms. And then the third topic, that relative service providers' top line revenue is introducing a new services which is leverage the software-defined and the virtualization technology, virtual CPE, or today is widely discussed white box CPE or universal CPEs. And that are fundamentally focused on the subscriber, which is either a small branch offices or the headquarters of enterprises. By replacing the legacy network connectivity device like switch routers, and also some network security device such as a firewall, VPN gateway, and those purpose-built dedicated box stack up the network connectivity and the services for the enterprise. Now, service provider can integrate into the cloud-based services by offering new universal CPE platforms. And to service provider, it will increase the top line revenue because they offer a new service that ever provided by them. And to an enterprise, the benefit is they eliminated the legacy CPEX expense, and by just spend on monthly basis payment to the service provider, pay as they use. So it provides agility and flexibility for enterprise customers to acquiring those new network services. So there are various of vCPE models, including distributed centralized mode, distributed mode, and the hybrid mode, while the virtualized network function are run at the central office site, at the CPE site, or mixed between the CPE site and customer premise, as well as at the edge side of the network cloud. So those services including the firewall, load balancer, unified communication, IP security, SD-WAN, those features can be virtualized into this UCPE box, whether it's offer a fixed line connectivities, internet connectivity, or MPLS connectivities. And this page is a newly surveyed by 650 group, introduced in NFV Congress 2 months ago. Is the adoption of the, say, SD-WAN in service provider aspect and also on the enterprise side. So we can see in the last 2-3 years, vendors in the industry are popular a lot of POC, proof of concept field trials. And then this year, starting from beginning of this year, the business start rolling out. And on the service provider side, we will see that not only from the North Americas, in Japan, but the rest of the world will starting launch those SD-WAN service from this year toward the next 2 years. And also the same accept from the enterprise customers been adopt this SD-WAN into their network infrastructures. So Lanner has a bunch of experience in the past 2 years in deploying this SD-WAN together with the service provider and the software partner across the world. So we have went through different stage of this SD-WAN, including the first generation, which is a dedicated hardware for a single SD-WAN service implement in this box. And To date, there are also quite a lot of customers they're adopting SD-WAN from the single vendor source, but with not limited to SD-WAN plus additional network security feature in the same virtualized platforms. And however, we foresee starting from second half this year, ServiceWare will start launch multi-vendor based SD-WAN software components using different VM from different software vendors. And this universal CPE approach will eventually become the mainstream of the market deployment in the next 2 years. Lanner, we are not work alone. We work with a bunch of the software partners and build up the ecosystem that will be easier for service provider and our customer to reduce time to market to launch these new services. This is the end of my sharing.